I simply am not there.
He was interested in American Psycho. Leo wanted to do it.
I never wanted to cast DiCaprio, and that's why I was fired.
Nobody knew who Christian Bale was then.
If you get this character wrong, it could be really bad.
I think it was going to be career suicide.
It was announced that Leonardo DiCaprio was going to star in the movie, and that Lionsgate had offered him $35 million.
Nobody wanted me for that role.
That's the stupidest idea I ever heard.
So the studio fired Christian Bale.
It was turning on its head all of the basic rules of acting.
They didn't see eye to eye on it, and then it was over.
Hey, you can't go play Patrick Bateman. And I was like, bring it on.
No, I want Christian.
It was the biggest gamble I ever did.
No, I'm still making the film. But I went a little bit psycho myself.
One of the most controversial and shocking books to be published for many years, American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis, it's been called a how-to novel on the torture and dismemberment of women.
They seemed to not understand the satire of it, seemed to believe that a depiction of violence is an act of violence, a depiction of misogyny is an act of misogyny. They read it wrong. I had received hundreds of death threats because I'd written this evil, disgusting book.
The irony was lost on those who protested the depiction of violence with threats of violence. Meanwhile, countless others loved the book's scathing satire of 80s corporate America, including some pretty big names in Hollywood.
The book was, I found, mesmerizing and incredibly strange. And I did go through a couple of attempts to develop a script from it, one that Bret Ellis did himself.
But the process of turning the book into a film was appearing increasingly daunting.
David Cronenberg said to me, when you write the script, first of all, I don't want any scenes in a nightclub or a restaurant. They're a pain to shoot. So cut all the nightclub and restaurant scenes. Well, that's 70% of the book. And he said also, I really only want to show maybe one murder, so cut out most of the violence. And also, make it only about 70 pages. I thought, what the f*** are you asking me to write?
And I began to feel that I could not do that book. I couldn't find a way to replicate on screen the experience that I had reading the book.
When a horror icon like David Cronenberg finds a story too extreme, you know it's something special. For years, American Psycho seemed impossible to adapt.
The producers came to me in '96, and at first I thought, how do you make a film out of that? When I read the book, I did feel that it had been misjudged, and that there was at the heart of it a really great satire on America during that time, and that making a movie would allow me to rescue it from its bad reputation.
Perrin co-wrote the script with Guinevere Turner. But now they faced an even bigger challenge, finding an actor who can properly capture the psychopath that is Patrick Bateman.
Initially, she offered the role to Billy Crudup.
Nobody plays like Russell Hammond.
Man, thank you.
And Billy was on board, and then he got in touch with her about a month later and said, I can't find this character. I think he was really understood, like, if you get this character wrong, it could be really bad.
The American actors who came in were much more earnest about it, and I think there was a feeling that basically Bateman was kind of cool. To me, it was very clear, and Guinevere, who is gay, that we saw it as a sort of gay man's satire on masculinity.
In the morning, if my face is a little puffy, I'll put on an ice pack while doing my stomach crunches.
Him being gay allowed him to see the kind of homoerotic rituals among these kind of alpha males.
In the shower, I use a water-activated gel cleanser, then a honey almond body scrub.
When I first went and auditioned, I just went to her apartment and it was just her with a little camera. And I didn't approach it like she said the other actors had, where they were talking about what's his childhood, what's the reason he's become this. I was like, none of that really matters.
There is an idea of a Patrick Bateman.
He's just like this alien.
Some kind of abstraction.
And Christian was the one who thought that he was absurd and ridiculous, which is how I saw it.
As we were doing the scene, I started laughing and she started cracking up, and we both realized we had the same very sick sense of humor, and we were like, oh yeah, all right, this will work between us.
I really, really wanted him to play it, and I had a big battle with everyone over casting Christian, who was not famous at the time, or not a star.
At the time, Bale had only done a few minor roles in period dramas.
Just when we were ready to go and we had cast Christian, it was announced in Variety that Leonardo DiCaprio was going to star in the movie, and that Lionsgate had offered him $35 million, which, by the way, is maybe 6 times what the actual budget of the film.
But they called me and said, the budget's still going to be $6 million, but we're going to pay him 20. And I just said, that's the stupidest idea I ever heard.
At the time, DiCaprio was the biggest star on the planet. Ironically, that was exactly why Heron didn't want him.
He just come off Titanic, so you can't cast someone who's the idol of a billion 15-year-old girls in this role.
The issue in casting someone with that level of star power is that they have an image that's carefully crafted by their entourage.
Don't f this up. Get him on the script with someone who's got
Whether it's their publicist, manager, or agent.
Listen, they want her, but if this causes a problem for Vince, I will squash it.
She said, if I direct Leo DiCaprio's first movie off of Titanic, it's going to be a team of people around him telling me what to do, and that's not the kind of director I am.
Also, Heron just couldn't picture Leo as a psychopath.
And I like him as an actor, but he's not this character. So I made what I thought was a very principled stand.
Heron told the studio that if they cast Leo, she was willing to walk away. To put into perspective how ballsy this was, at this point in her career, Heron had mainly done journalism, playwriting, and a couple of indie films. For her principles, she was willing to risk throwing away a career-making film with one of the biggest actors in the world.
And so the studio fired Christian Bale, fired Mary Heron, and hired Leo. He was going to do it with Oliver Stone.
After Bale was fired, he did something that 99.9% of sane humans would never even imagine doing.
But there is no real me.
He continued to study and prepare for the role of Patrick Bateman.
Only an entity.
I went a little bit psycho myself. All my friends were saying that to me, like, what are you doing?
As an unknown actor, Bale didn't exactly have a ton of work flying at him.
It wasn't like I was getting offered much.
And he was actually willing to turn down a paycheck to hold out for the role.
It wasn't like I was getting offered, but, a couple of projects. I turned them down and kept on going. I just said, no, I'm still making the film. And even though other people were cast, other directors were on board, I just kept on prepping. And I would call Mary up and she would say, Christian, they've given it to other people. And I was like, yeah, no, it doesn't matter. We're still going to make it. And she was like, ooh, he's lost the plot.
DiCaprio and Stone reportedly wanted to turn the film into a psychological thriller about a man torn between his successful career and his dark desires. They envisioned Bateman as a Jekyll and Hyde antihero, rather than a cold-blooded killer.
One of the things that separates it off from a traditional serial killer film, there is no punishment and there is no retribution for all the mayhem that Bateman caused.
Gloria Steinem, the mother of feminism, spoke out against the book, and then she's actively campaigned for the movie not to be made.
According to Turner, it was Steinem herself who convinced Leo not to take the part.
Apparently, somebody talked Leonardo DiCaprio out of the idea that coming off of Titanic with a bunch of 13-year-old girl fans, that maybe doing a serial killer movie next was not like the best career move.
So, DiCaprio walked. Stone followed, leaving Lionsgate with no star or director. But they still refused Bale, wanting a bigger name. Bale also faced serious warnings about the role.
I had an awful lot of calls saying it was going to be career suicide. Because a lot of people would say, if you play a villain like that, you never get to play anything else because you're stuck in everybody's imagination as that person.
But Bale was unfazed.
And I was like, bring it on.
Given the studio was only considering other actors like Ewan McGregor, Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon, he devised a plan. In Bale's own words, I called them all and told them it was my role. Don't touch, step away. Or if you're not going to step away, understand what you're up against. Heron also never wavered, pushing to get Bale in the role.
She really put herself on the line because she had so many known actors who were stepping up, and she just said, no, I want Christian.
Ultimately, the studio gave in and Bale was cast.
My name is Patrick Bateman. I'm 27 years old.
Physically, it was essential. It wasn't just the vanity of an actor that Bateman have a six-pack. With him, the clothes really do make the man.
By the time shooting began, Bale had transformed his body to ensure he looked the part, a method he would later become famous for.
And much as the same way as I would arrive on the set, put on the suits, have my hair done, and then be able to play Bateman, he does exactly the same thing in his mornings with his routine.
Then I apply an herb mint facial mask.
He puts on his mask in order to be able to perform for the rest of the day.
Which I leave on for 10 minutes while I prepare the rest of my routine.
While the inspiration for the routine was taken directly from the book, Bale's inspiration for Patrick Bateman himself came from an actual person.
In the 80s, Tom Cruise was breaking through and his big smile and everything. And I just would imagine Patrick Bateman watching him and studying him a little bit as he did with other people in order to try to form some sort of a personality for himself.
He smiles, but has like nothing behind his eyes.
And though I can hide my cold gaze, I simply am not there.
Bale completely embodied the role, even off camera.
He really isolated himself. He didn't socialize at all while we were shooting. At the wrap party, when he finally went back to his real way of speaking, people were asking, why is Christian talking like that? Like, people in the crew didn't even know that he was British. We were rehearsing a scene one morning, me and him and Mary, and he's on the phone getting annoyed with the video store because he needs to return Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then he's trying to juggle when the store opens versus his trainer, and he's eating a chicken breast, and Mary and I look at each other like, oh my God, that's Patrick Bateman. Look what he's done. Like,
Bale's strange methods raised eyebrows among his fellow actors.
Josh Lucas, he actually told Christian that when we were shooting, he and the other guys, they thought, he's terrible. Why did Mary fight so hard to cast this guy?
Psychology of him, it was turning on its head all of the basic rules of acting. Bateman's completely self-conscious. He's absolutely aware of the impression that he's giving. Many of the scenes I played as though it's Bateman's fantasies of being the lead in his own movie, whether that be his own porn movie or his own action movie or his own horror movie.
Watching it when it was happening, I just thought it was brilliant. I had no idea that other people didn't think it was as brilliant as I did.
The only unfortunate aspects of the production were the times it was forced to stray from the book.
Where did you get that overnight bag?
And what Bateman should say is, comme des garçons. But we couldn't clear it, so he says,
Jean-Paul Gaultier.
It was a big risk at the time for you to associate yourself with it. It wasn't necessarily going to be cool.
The entire story was based around Bateman using brands to blend in, but many fashion brands refused to appear in the film. Most famously, Cerruti agreed to let Bale wear their suits, but not while killing anyone.
in the book, he says, don't touch the Rolex. Because we couldn't get permission, we have to say, don't touch
the watch.
Which I have to say does not have the same resonance.
What scared brands away was also what made the film what it is. And it makes you wonder, would it have been the masterpiece that it is with Stone and DiCaprio?
When Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to play Patrick Bateman, that was a whole trip unto itself, just in terms of the frenzy.
If I'd tried to do this, they would have had so many, doubts. But how can you make a film with somebody this unsympathetic? Can you give a psychological motivation?
It could have very easily become a slasher flick, and there are obviously elements of a slasher flick within this, but it's more within Bateman's head. I think that to have reduced it to a gore fest would have been to denial of the intelligence that it deserves.
To me, Bale's portrayal of Patrick Bateman was something beyond what DiCaprio or anyone else could have done.
I think his punishment is being himself. Yeah, order's not restored. The whole point about it is nobody cares enough to find him out.
The performance did justice to the book, to the film, and proved that if you believe in something, never give up. You might create a legacy.
Hey, Paul!
I'm Adam. This is ScreenPuff. Give that like button an axe chop before you leave. And as always, thank you for watching.